Welcome to another episode of Soul Where the Love, where we explore that love is safe, and if it's not safe, it's not love. And today I have beautiful Carmelina and Carly, and we had the idea of speaking about moving on from a relationship. If someone has passed away, or if an important relationship broke up, like how much time should you have between the breakup or the passing away? So I'd love to hear your opinions, and then I can bring why, what we see together. So how about you, Carolina?
So actually, before I give you my opinion, I remember when I was in law school, I had a colleague and he would say to me, the way to get rid of an old boyfriend is to get a new one, because I had experienced the end of, my very first love. But as a mature woman who came out of a very long relationship or marriage, it took me a while. I took my time because I didn't stop myself from having experiences, but the thought of getting re-engaged with somebody on a serious note, I just didn't feel right,
I agree.
Yeah.
How about you, Carl?
Well, I was gonna say, like, I've heard that saying before, the fastest way to get over somebody is get under someone else. I don't know, there's not really like a set time that I've really felt for myself. At the moment, I've been single for like 2.5 years. And in other kind of in between points, I would say that it was probably about a year time. Is that the right answer? I have no idea. I do know that at this point in my life, in the 2.5 to 3 year gap that I've been single, I've done a lot of like inner work, and I think I've made a lot of progress on myself as a human being, and just like simply being alone.
Me too.
So
yeah.
And so yeah, for me, it all comes down to the ability to self-soothe. The more we can connect with our own self, the less we need someone on the outside to come and take the bubble away. Being in a relationship is beautiful, and it gives us lots of pleasure. And I'm going to say this again: the aim of a relationship is not to make us happy or miserable. The aim of a relationship is to teach us how to love, and because when we love, we feel happy. So it's true.
Right.
To be happy in a relationship, you're going to have to learn what is love for me. What does it mean to love another person? And as you experience true love, it is one of the most joyous things you can have in the world. But it's not because someone on the outside come and takes all your woes away. It's not because they fill in that void, because each and every one of us is in charge of taking care of that connection. And the time in your life where you're going to feel the happiest is when you connect. Like if you're connecting with your work, you feel happy. If you're connecting with the moment, you're outside and you're looking at the trees or the sky and you go, wow, like this is beautiful day. You could be walking on the street and not paying attention. You're not going to have the same amount of gratitude as if you take the time to connect in that moment. So it's the same thing when you connect with your own heart and you go, wow, I'm a pretty cool cat. Hopefully you want to say that about yourself. But then also being connected with the person you're with, these are the moments that create love and joy. And I find that more a person is connected with their hearts, the less they need to go, being a serial monogamist, as it's called, because we have learned to self-soothe, and then we can, okay, what happened in this past relationship?
That's
What did I
easier
learn?
said than done, though, because we all know that love and passion and it's just overwhelms you with sadness, a breakup, right? And I don't know how many breakups you've had, but I date you, like, I'm like, why is she single? But I understand, because I have a group of young women that I know that are younger than me. And in some ways, we don't take the time because we also feel like time's going to run out. Like one advice someone gave me is, oh, don't wait too long. Not like I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to jump back into the frying pan, right?
And what's important also to remember is emotions are guides
Yeah.
to show us where we have the illusion of being unworthy of love. Emotions are guides to show us where we have the illusion of being unworthy of love. So when we feel sad, it's because at the core, underneath all that sadness, is what's wrong with me that I was not able to have this love to last happily ever after. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Maybe I will never have the love that I'm craving. And that is not true. Each and every one of us, we are worthy of love. This is why it is so important that we own that. Like, imagine, and I am convinced of that, because this is how I help my clients the most. It's like, if you start with the premise that your essence is love, this is who you are. Your essence is love. The stories that happen in the world, when if someone reacts to us in the way we like, we think I'm queen of the world, I'm king of the world, I can have anything I want of life. But when the world is not reacting to you the way you want, then you create a story. What's wrong with me? It has nothing to do. Who you are is constantly worthy of love. And once you really start from this place, it takes away a lot of the sadness of a breakup. I know, because I've helped my clients, go from deep depression to being able to feel like, oh, it's not. I actually did the same thing for myself. It was really interesting. So I teach a tool, and I use a tool with my clients called the DeMartini method. And it's a series of questions, but the questions, yes, they're cerebral, but then they get you inside your heart, so you can really see the big picture. And for me, it's like I had been in this relationship for 6 years, and we were far away from each other, and I felt really, I was so sad with it when it ended. And then I asked myself, so what are make a list of the things you miss about him. And when I went down to sit and write down what it is that I was missing, I realized there was not that much.
Oh, goodness.
Actually, it was like, being in love with love, that I didn't have that anymore, that was gone, that was hurting. And it was like, wow. So within a half an hour,
You were over it. Come on.
And it was so shocking to me to see that, I was feeling so sad before, but once I looked at it, really, nothing was missing.
But that's a level of self-awareness a lot of people don't have. So how do you help them? At least I wasn't self-aware when I was a young woman and my first 4-year relationship ended. And then my second, right after that, every guy I met wanted to marry me. Okay. I'd be like, okay. And then I remember saying to myself once, it was the 3rd year, whatever, graduate school, saying, what is wrong with me? Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me?
Because we don't, this is why I'm so passionate. This is so great what you're saying, because this is why I'm passionate about this. Is like, all of you listening, if you're especially younger people, is that you don't have to go through all this trauma. There are things you can put in place that will help you understand that if you want to date, great, before you know who you are. But don't imagine that you're going to be riding into the sunset with this person for the rest of your life. Maybe, maybe not. But you need to find out first about who you are. What are my values? Why am I here? Like, what matters to me that, I'm willing to live under the roof with this person versus having them friends as acquaintances. There's a huge difference. So you need to take the time to know, who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? And when you're younger, so sometimes I've had teenagers come to see me and they're like so infatuated, like it's so passionate, like
Right.
it's first crush. And I like that word in English, crush, because you usually get crushed.
Yeah,
It's like, and that's why people get afraid of relationships afterwards. But when I see teenagers coming to see me, I tell them, you might feel right now that if this breaks up, you're gonna die. But I guarantee you, you're not going to die. And that most likely this relationship is just around you right now, so you can learn about love. So it becomes a different experience. So, all right, I'm going to go dating and I'm going to learn about what it means to love. And the first time it's like, oh, when I see this so often, it's like you're a teenager, you really like somebody, but then like if you're a boy or girl, you go like, or whatever. What does that look like when you kiss? Whoa, am I gonna be like a bozo? Like, what's gonna happen if I don't know what I'm doing? Like, and the anxiety of all that. So I highly encourage you to get over it quickly so you can relax and you realize kissing first time, the person you're with most likely, if they're same age as you, don't really have much more experience than you. So then you can relax. I don't necessarily say you should have full-on sexual connection when you're young, because once you have really big connection with someone, if you're too young to be able to deal with that, that can be dangerous for your heart. But get over it. But if you are starting to date, don't think you're gonna marry this person. It can happen. I would say maybe 2% of the population ends up marrying their high school sweetheart, but the rest of us, we thought, like, did you think when you remember your first crush? Do you remember your
Yeah,
first?
unfortunately.
Yeah, in that moment, we think, oh wow,
Yeah.
this is the person
Yeah.
for the rest of my life.
I mean, I grew up on historical romances, so, you just
Yeah.
meet somebody and in some ways, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Because I met a guy on a blind date, flew to Italy and came home telling my mom I was getting married, but
Wow.
so I can never, when I'm listening to you, I'm thinking of multi-generational relationships, how I was raised.
Yeah.
Which was
Culturally,
culturally, our generation was raised to get married,
Yeah.
and procreate. That was the thing.
Yeah.
Now nobody wants to procreate,
No.
but everybody wants to have a party and get married. And,
Yeah.
I've heard terms such as starter marriage, which to me,
starter marriage.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard
A
this too.
starter marriage. That's interesting.
you're gonna have a starter marriage, and I'm thinking that's an expensive proposition.
Yeah.
But I think
Maybe a starter house is better.
yeah, I mean, the whole thing about self-love, and I still remember the first time my brother told me this, because he was way more advanced than I was with intentions. Like, you start your thing with intentions, and I remember it was at a point in my marriage, which was a dark moment. And his response was to call me and say, Carmi, you need to learn to love yourself. And I still remember where I was in a car close to Yorkville Avenue, and those were the words out of his mouth. And he was one of the critical people that helped me. And after my whole separation for 6 years, I think that was the process. Like, the very first year I came to do your program, I've done it 3 times, as you know. And that was like the beginning of me trying to learn who I was after so long and I think that's what the biggest danger is, that doesn't matter what age we are, is having the self-awareness of our value as a woman or a partner, and learning to love ourselves.
Yeah, I agree.
So what do you think? We would love to hear your comments. Just write them below. We have a goal, and our goal is really to help create a world where there's more love, where we feel safe, because love is really the greatest gift we can each and everyone give each other. So let us know what you think, and let other people know if you enjoy what we're doing. Share it with others. Bye for now. Thank you.